please. Just an observation for me looking out this morning, my friends. I thought I'd be expecting a little more color out there. It's just a little splattering here and there. Even our wonderful organist, Mark Verano, wearing green. Mark is a very bright man, isn't he, my friends? Also, a big Just a big congratulations to all those second graders that received the sacrament of confession on Saturday for the first time. That's what those candles represent. And finally, this afternoon, if you're familiar with the music type, and it's a community in France called Taizé, we're having a little Taizé ecumenical service this afternoon here at the church at 3 o'clock. So if you're free and interested in that, it's a repetitive type music, like Remember Me. That's Taizé music. So it's mainly just reading psalms and music for 45, 50 minutes or so. Okay. I also have to talk about Lenten Appeal this week too, and then I'll have a shorter homily as well. You have received communication from the diocese considering to contribute to the diocesan annual campaign. You may be wondering if this was what we have come to know as the Lenten Appeal, and it is. It's the same thing, but the diocese just changed its name. So I just ask that, as you contributed to Lenten Appeal in the past, please do so in this campaign as well. The strength of the church is twofold. We come to church to receive him, don't we? We receive him at church, and we need him, right? That's why we come. So we have enough strength to live out there. But there's another part of the church, my friends, it's not as important, but it's important. And that is the church transforms a lot of lives that are less fortunate than us. And that's where a good portion of Lenten Appeal money goes to help the less fortunate. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And you have all donated in the past, and I just hope you continue to do so. There's pledge cards that you've all received, or if you need another one or have any questions, there's people in the back this week and next week. Please just stop by the desk and pick up your pledge card and either send it in or drop it in the collection over the next few weeks. That would be greatly appreciated. I just thank you for your support for this truly worthy cause. I was looking up the Lenten Appeal and knowing I was talking about it, and we say to ourselves, what good is it for us to donate to these causes? And I found a beautiful story. It was about a woman that was stranded along the road. And the one who stopped to help her didn't know how long it was, but it was chilly, and she was really frazzled when he got there. And he knew she was when he saw her there alongside the road. And he said to her, ma'am, I'm here to help. And she had an obviously fat tire that she needed changed, and she had no cell phone, so she was really stranded. He said to her, ma'am, why don't you wait in the car and I'll get this tire all straightened out. And he said, by the way, my name is Brian Anderson. And he didn't ask her name, he just said simply, my name is Brian Anderson. He fixed the tire, and at the end of it, she was tremendously grateful. She said, thank you, Brian. And she said, how much do I owe you? And she was really being insistent on that. And he said, oh, no. He said, God has blessed me and will continue to bless me. He said, but if you want to do something, bless somebody else that's in need. He said, carry it on. She gets into her car and drives away, extremely grateful. A few miles down the road, she said to herself, I'm just hungry. I have another good 2 hours to go yet. So she stopped at a diner to grab something to bite to eat. And when she got there, this waitress that was waiting on her was obviously very pregnant. And she said she was one of the nicest waiters that she's ever had in her life. She was pleasant, and finally, towards the end of the meal, she even said something to the waitress. She said, "You know, do you have trouble doing this job, being so obviously pregnant?" And she asked her when she was due, and she said, "You know, it's a little difficult." She said, "But money's pretty tight right now, and it really helps out me, working here." And then she gave her the bill and said, that she would take the money when it's ready. And so when she came, she handed a $100 bill to the waitress. And the waitress went and took care of it. The cash registers came back, and she had already gone. And this is what she wrote. She wrote a little note on the napkin. And it said, "You don't owe me any change. I have been there one day too," she said. "Somebody even helped me out on the way here to the diner. And now I need to help you," she said. "If you really want to pay me back, here is what you do. Don't let the chain of love end with you." And in the napkin was 4 more $100 bills. The waitress obviously was all shook up with this, had tears in her eyes. She finished her shift. She was working like 3 to 11 shift. And when she came home, her husband was sound asleep. And as she usually does, she gives him a little kiss in the cheek and then goes to bed. And it was the same type of routine that she usually does. So she got into bed and she gave her husband a kiss, and she said to him, "Everything's going to be all right. And I love you so much, Brian Anderson." Isn't it amazing? I love you so much, Brian Anderson. Our Lord always blesses a generous heart, especially when we help those that are less fortunate than ourselves. And just a short reflection on the gospel. It's the transfiguration. While they were up in the mountain with the 3 apostles, something happened. They encountered the divine Jesus in a way they never saw him before, and their lives will never be the same. So much so that they wanted to stay up there. They said, "Jesus, can we make 3 tents?" They wanted to stay there. And I thought as I read this past week, the power of an encounter. When we encounter the living God, there's power in that. The power in any encounter, really, isn't there? I was home 2 weeks ago, and my niece was there. She had graduated from college 2 years ago, and she was on her way back to New York. And she stopped by to see my parents. She lives and works in New York City. She's a wonderful girl. But this time, she was all smiles. All smiles. She was showing pictures of her boyfriend that she had just met, showing my mom pictures of her. And she couldn't stop talking. And I thought, wow, the power of an encounter. The power of an encounter. There was a man, his name was John. He was in the coffee shop at 6:30 a.m. He had bought his coffee and he was off to the sidebar putting his cream in it and whatever else he put in it. And he ran into a friend. And his friend looked at him and said, "John." He said, "Boy, you're in a good mood this morning." He said, "Where are you going?" He said, "Oh, I'm just going to work." He said, "Wow, I'm glad work's going good for you." And he just said, "Hey, have a good day, John," and kind of took off. They left, and John gets in his car, is going to work, and he's thinking to himself, work's okay. That's nothing great. Nothing to get really excited about. And then he thought, it's not where I'm going that impacted me, he said. It's not where I'm going. It's where I've been that put me in this mood. He said, it's where I've been. And John had just finished his 5 to 6 a.m. shift at the weekly Adoration Chapel. The power of an encounter, especially with the divine. It's powerful, my friends. It's powerful. Any encounter changes us. But when we encounter the divine over and over again, it's life-giving. It's life-giving, isn't it? There's still a few openings in the early morning hours if you're still interested, and I think Tuesday has some places, but we're pretty full up, so thank you for your cooperation. You'll be blessed. But if you'd like to do any of those early hours from 1 to 2, us nocturnal creatures, it's a beautiful time to pray, my friends. It truly is. Please just either fill out a form or call the rectory, or you can even email us. St. Alphonsus says, of all the devotions, that of adoring Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament is the greatest after the sacraments, and the one that is most helpful to us. Of all the devotions, that of adoring Jesus is the most helpful to us. God bless you.